Action Rents started in 1974 at a little spot in Healdsburg. It was called Healdsburg Rents back then, and it was just Mark and Paul. And John had a little store in Guerneville called Guerneville Rents. And then in 1976, they bought the store in Windsor, and then after that, they brought John on board as well and created Action Rents. Action Rents has always been forward thinking. You know, they're always trying to find a niche in the market, a specialty tool, a new process and we're following up with contractors with their needs for, you know, the new way to do this, the new way to dig that, the new way to put in this tool. I mean, forward reach forklifts were a pretty small market back in the day, and now we have, you know, a fleet of them. So we've always stayed on top of industry, needs and requirements, and always doing research to stay ahead of the game to provide the newest and latest product for our customers. And having that niche market has always been an offer to not only the contractor but the homeowner as well. Having the product for the homeowner to come in and pick up on a weekend to get the job done that might be the best and most efficient way, as well as might be too expensive for them to own, that's what we're here for.
It's a family-owned business, and I love their culture of Action Rents since day one. Responsibility that upper management takes whenever there is a family need, it doesn't matter if upper management has to supply the demand, like running the store, to allow that individual to go take care of their family. Anybody in upper management, they understand what all of us go through day in, day out, and all of them are totally capable to run the store, to service equipment in the yard, to do any of the above that I have described.
You know, everybody says that family's important in that, but you know, there's a lot of truth in the support when you need help, whether it's covered shifts or, you know, after hours, just somebody to lean on and talk to. There's a lot of that within our company culture. I've been with Action Rents, this is my 11th year, and I'm a new guy. You know, there's members of our team that have been here for 20 plus, quite a bit of that, and we do have some that are 30 plus.
This June will be 24 years for me there, and I started part-time as a yard guy. The training, the support, you know, and the life they've given me and the hard work that I've given them has been a very good balance.
Those older, longer tenured employees have started from the very bottom and worked their way all the way through the company. And that speaks a lot to culture, in my opinion. And one of the things that drew me into Action Rents was seeing the amount of tenure. The rental industry is a really small community. You know, there's a lot of people that have either worked at various different companies or companies that are offshoots of other companies. It's a really cool community to get involved in because you do have the opportunity to communicate and bounce ideas off of other rental companies. I feel strongly that I've got great relationships with all the local competition, but it's like friendly competition, right?
You know, we probably do 30 to 40% homeowner and probably 60 to 70% contractor. Dealing with the public, answering the phone to taking an order, everyone calls things a certain thing. They call a vibratory plate a whacker, or they call a jumping jack a rammer a jumping jack. But we do get a lot of funny calls with people that know what a machine does or know a machine's name but don't know what it is. And I remember taking a call one time, and a nice lady on the phone asked me for a trench winch, and which the manufacturer's ditch witch. So figuring out what she needed a trencher for her backyard for putting in some irrigation. But there's a lot of funny names and different things that people call equipment that happens every day.
Safety is priority on any aspects on any piece of equipment. We have to be on top of all the safety aspects of every piece of equipment.
We committed to a committee style program where every department has a rotating person involved, and that showed me that no matter the level of tenure or position you hold within the company, having different people involved in that program got a lot of buy-in and really changed our safety program altogether. It's inevitable. We're working with tractors, you know, they break. People, you know, break, either a person breaks something or the equipment fails, whatever it might be. at the end of the day, it's going to be right. We'll work with that customer every time to make sure that that's resolved. Every job's different, and weird things come up, different, whatever might happen, right? And that's one of the things that you can get with us that you don't get with every rental company is you're going to get taken care of to whatever your needs are. Our CEO uses customer-centric all the time, and customer-centric comes from having a good, a happy staff, a knowledgeable staff, and a good environment that's inviting and wants to bring customers and employees and everybody in and close. And I know that no matter what happens in a situation, I can honestly say that we're going to do the right thing every time. And if we don't, and you bring that to our attention, we'll make sure it's right. And any one of us can do that. It's not an upper management decision that has to go through the corporate ladder to get an answer for you. It can be handled at the ground level by any employee because they all have the power to do so.
Working with Tom, we could not have ever gotten a better partner.
Well, when we first met was when we went out on a motorcycle ride to go have some cocktails.
It was all about the motorcycles. It was so much fun. Every time that we got together, that's all we could think about is jumping on the motorcycles and going.
He was helping me on weekends when he was working for Oak Grove. We were doing little jobs here and there out in Sonoma. And I kept telling my wife, we work well together. He's got his act together, and he'd help us out to fulfill what we ended up fulfilling with RCX. Really easy person to work with the kind of mentality of, we're going to get this job done. We're not taking off in the middle of the day or anything. And that was my mentality also, because that's how I think we both were brought up in that era. The first job that I remember Tom and I did was pulling out some canary palms out in Shellville and transplanting them. They were probably 35, 40 foot tall. I mean, they were big canary palms. We had a crane in there dragging them across the field. And the guy he just fit right in. He knew exactly what you were thinking.
He was very devoted to helping the company grow. We all had a vision of a company that supported family values, and that was so easy for Tom. He is the best dad, and we have watched him raise his girls. We first met Tom, it was September 1996, and I think Christy was 3.
My dad was great growing up. I really have to admit, as much as he was busting his ass at work, he was always there for my sister and I. And I think that's when I look back about how he was as a father, I really respect him for that, because he could have taken the easy route and kind of been lazy with us, or, I'm tired, I don't want to do that. But he never did that. One morning, I don't know how we got on the subject, but it was what we wanted to do when we were older. And my sister is 2 years older than me, and she didn't know what she wanted to do. And we just happened to be passing by the 76 station construction on Coffee and Piner at the time. And there was guys working out there, and my dad goes, "You can work in construction." And she goes, she's elementary school girl, so she's like, "Girls can't work in construction. Girls can't operate tractors." And I'll never forget his response. He's like, "Girls can do whatever the hell they want." And I think that always just kind of stuck with me, because that's who he was as a dad. It was never like, you're a girl, this is your role, this is what you're supposed to do. It was, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I think that really meant a lot to me, because here I am today, a woman in construction, and I'll never forget that. And that was in elementary school. 2008 was probably our hardest hit, and we just weathered that very well. It took all 3 of us for sure, but he definitely was a great person
to have at your side, certainly through those times, through all times. But when everyone knows you've been in a situation where things aren't great, they're emotional, they're complicated, there's implications, and Tom was absolutely the best person to have beside us through that.
If you're in construction, you live and breathe it. And at RCX, we live and breathe it. Tom comes to work every day. He's there before I am, and he leaves after I'm gone. And he works on estimates, works on getting equipment. He's so proud of his trucks. Changed the logo, the trucks are clean. We want all of our equipment on the job site clean. He gets involved in the work that we do, from project management, estimating, making sure that the crews are right. He's even out there paving. Earthwork, running an who doesn't like running an excavator? But he gets that chance to do it, and he gets out there and he enjoys it, and he works with the guys. And it's really important. Leadership is really important.
He's an incredible leader. He's clear, he's concise, and he's firm, but he also is the type of guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. And I don't think a lot of people know that. He's very giving. He's always willing to give people chances that, others possibly wouldn't. And that's what I really love about him, is he's just such an excellent leader. And I really look up to him. I really hope that one day that I can be as good as that, honestly.
From my point of view, just seeing how Tom ran the jobs, ran the office, ran the estimating department, he was hands-on, but he wasn't dominant. He wasn't over your shoulder. I've seen him discussing bids with his estimators previously, and it was more team-orientated.
There's always a lack of communication in paving because everybody's like fired up and wants to get this job done, paved out, and you're all hot and sweaty. He was really good at directing people, just not even screaming or yelling, but just guiding them physically over to an area and start working on that area.
He's not just pointing fingers and, bossing people around. He's there. He's next to our employees. He's paving, He doesn't have to do that, but he is. He's the first one in the building. He's the last to leave.
He's been a quiet leader, but he's a very, very, very hard-working, intelligent young man.
I think that rubs off on our whole entire team as a group. And that's what I really can appreciate and love about RCX, is that it's not just one person's job to get something done. We all make it a point to get a job done. So it's not just, one project manager or one superintendent. It is all of us coming together to make a job happen. It's not just one person. And I think that is why we have such a well-oiled machine going. It's not just, that's your job, I don't care about that. We all care about the job, and we all want to get the job done the right way.
Why are we in construction? We all love running yellow equipment and, working through the day. It's hard work and it's rewarding. And, we just enjoy it. We're all long-term employees. The people, our retention is really high. And we don't have a lot of turnover, especially once we get up into the foreman, superintendent, PM, estimator role. You either retire or you're still working. So in that respect, we have been pretty lucky. Especially, with now it's hard to find people. We're still looking for people.
He's very proud of RCX. He's expanded it since we've left tremendously.
And we're really glad that he got Contractor of the Year. This is an honor for him that he really deserves to. He works hard.
I was involved with Ramatzi Insurance since 1981. So this was even before John was working there. His father and I were best of friends. Don Ramatzi kind of took me under his wing. But when John started working there, and I was totally involved with both Paul and John. I think John was very instrumental in helping people at the Ramatzi agency promote themselves to be better people, better workers, more efficient people.
Don Ramatzi Insurance was one of my father's first tenants in Redwood Business Park, and so that's how I met John in the late 1990s. We ended up on a ski trip together, and we just had some incredible conversations, and really from that point on, we were pretty inseparable. We did a lot together in business and outside of business.
We were both elected as directors for the ECA, and we talked about he was an avid pilot, wannabe sailor, and I'm an avid sailor, wannabe pilot, and that moment started a long-term relationship. John and I, as we met at that ECA board meeting, the topic of discussion, or the topic du jour at that time, was that engineering contractors could not get insurance to do public works. Back when, many years ago when that was going on, there was a form that was required by the Redwood Empire Municipal Insurance Fund, REMIF, that was called a CG 2010-1185. And no broker would give that coverage. Yet every agency locally in Sonoma and Marin County required that coverage. John was in the insurance business. I was a contractor that was naive. And I said, let's form an insurance task force and we'll go talk to the carriers and we'll convince them that somebody's got to get insurance and we just got to work it out. John laughed hysterically and volunteered to serve on my committee just to watch me flail. As a team through that committee with John's help, we were successful in getting through that difficult stage when none of us could get insurance to do public works.
John believed in people, right? And in a lot of ways, he believed in individuals more than they believed in themselves. But he didn't do it in a judgmental way. He did it in a beautiful, loving way, in a quiet way. And his presence instilled confidence in those people around him, and really had those people believing that they could be better versions of themselves. And I can't tell you exactly why or how he did that. Because he wasn't, he just walked into a room and he changed the room. In just his appearance, his physical presence, his smile, his smirk.
In my mind, I characterize him as the Tom Cruise of today. Handsome, effective, brilliant, carried himself well. He was calm and not outspoken. When he spoke, he knew exactly what he was saying. He wasn't bulldozing over anyone else. It was very subtle, very much to the point, and it didn't necessarily match his persona of being king of all things. He was subtle, quiet, and very, very effective.
John was almost like a perfectionist. He wanted to be the best at everything, whether it be work or play. He worked hard and he played hard, and there was just no difference between the two of them. John in sports was a fanatic. John was an avid bike rider, bicycle rider. He would travel all the way around Lake Tahoe on a bicycle. John went to University of Nevada to further his education. He played football there as a linebacker, and he was inducted into the University of Nevada's Hall of Fame. And he was also a Kodiak American linebacker.
On one hand, you can talk about how persistent he was, how competitive he was, what a grinder he was in all parts of his business. John was always trying to grow as a person and to be a better version of himself, physically, mentally, emotionally. He always wanted to learn, super curious, But he also had this incredibly kind heart. John got his pilot's license so he could go see his kids who were in Reno, Nevada. That's why he started to fly, right? He loved his kids so much.
They had a plane. They started with a small plane, and then they got a second plane, which is a little bit bigger. And then they said, the two boys, Paul and John, came to me and said, "Hey, why don't you be a partner with us in another plane? We want to buy a prop jet." And I said, "Well, there's two things I require." And they go, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, I require a restroom and a cocktail waitress." And they said, "Well, it does have a potty seat." So I got involved in the plane with them.
We had just ridden our bikes around Lake Tahoe, and warm summer Saturday, we're sitting in my driveway, my home in Lake Tahoe, and just shaking his arms, like, I just don't feel right. John's invincible. He's like, my arms are a little tingly. And, I didn't think about it. I just probably gave him shit about just being old. And he called me about 3 weeks later. He and Michelle are on the phone together, and I'm in my backyard, and he says, "Got some bad news." And what's up? And I remember this like yesterday. He goes, "I have ALS." And I go, "Oh, okay. What's that and how do we beat it?" And he goes, "Matt, there's no cure." I go, "Okay, what's that mean?" And he goes, "It means I'm going to die." That was two or three of the hardest weeks of my life. I shared it with my wife, and I cried every single day. And I talked to John every single day. And he taught me so much about how to live by how he died. He died with such, and the fact that he passed away on Super Bowl Sunday, I still love to death.
John and I were dear friends for the last 2 years of his life. I have a lifetime of stories that I cherish to this day. Shortly after meeting John, and maybe having spent 2 or 3 days sailing with him on my boat, he reached out to me and asked if I would do a favor for him. He shared with me that he was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. And he asked me to run interference for him while he confirmed that diagnosis. I was honored, but even more than honored, I was stunned. How and why would you come to me with this request? You have 1,000 friends. And his answer is, there's something about you that I see that I know I can count on unconditionally. That created a bond that kept us together for the rest of his life.
My thoughts are always with John and always with his family. The nice thing is now Jake, one of his sons, is actually at Don Ramatzi Insurance. So, and he reminds me so much of John. I mean, he's a spitting image and a great man.
John passed away 17 years ago. And his friends, and a lot of us are still friends, right? That he brought together. And his clients and his coworkers, they all still talk about him like he was alive yesterday. I still learn from him every day, and I have my moments of good times and also bad times where I just kind of look up and I can see him smirking, smiling, because he was always so balanced. And, I'd be kind of throwing a fit over something or emotional, and he would just look at me like, "What's your problem, man? Just calm me down." And he still brings that to me all the time to this day. And when I think about him, and think about him looking down on me and guiding me, it always makes me smile because I can just picture his face. I can picture that little grin on his face, and it brings me a lot of peace and a lot of happiness.
When James Gelati started his business in 1914, that's where he was a stonemason. You know, he would go around Sonoma County, Marin County even, Sonoma County, Napa County, looking for stones and build rock walls, and that morphed into concrete work. And that was one of the first things he did. You know, he'd go down to the creek bottoms and get his gravel and buy his cement and mix it all by hand, and was pouring sidewalks and driveways. Dick had a great upbringing, right? And we went to Marin Catholic High School. He went to Santa Clara. He was a Marine reservist. Spent a month or two traveling Europe, then dove right into the business. Of course, he was working every summer growing up. Believe it or not, Dino, his father, says, "You're not working for me, you're working for Mario." So Mario was actually one of Dick's first mentors. So Dick really got his feet underneath him, you know, and really worked his tail off like the rest of us, and listened to his father at dinner and listened to Mario at work and all those other mentors. So he knew the business. He knew the business.
Well, Dick Gelati, and our relationship goes back even to Mario Gelati and his dad, Dino Gelati. And when I first got started, I was just doing underground. And I would go into Gelati Brothers' office in San Rafael and bid all their underground projects. As we started growing, Dick Dowd and Gelati Brothers saw that, hey, maybe we should have our own underground construction. So we became competitors at that point in time, and then Dick lost his father, and Dick and Mario decided to go separate ways. Dick started Gelati Construction, and we became good competitors. There was good competitors, fair competitors, fierce competitors, but we both respected each other.
The late 80s were tough times. There was a recession going on. The business was having some challenges, and Dick and Mario just decided it'd be best to go their separate ways.
I don't think he feared 1 second about starting a new company. I think he wanted to do that, and I think he knew he was going to be capable of doing it. That's the reason that when he came to me 4 years after he started the company, and he came to me and he said, "I would like for you to join me," I knew that he was capable of making it happen. It was a no-brainer for me to join Gelati Construction.
Started with working for Gelati Construction a year after the split, so I started in, I think, late '92. Dick's primary interest is securing a client and keeping the client happy. That really goes to one of his core beliefs, being selfless in his desire to keep clients. When you have that type of attitude, it takes away the me-you type of client relationship and creates more of an us. We're all in it together. How can we solve a problem together? What's the better good for anything? What's the better good for the community? What's the better good for the project? I think that's his initial approach. I don't think I've found another person that's as selfless as he is. I've never, ever heard him say, "What's in it for me?" It's always, how can we solve this? How can we move beyond the problem and solve the issue at hand?
He would talk to everybody. And that's one of the things that people always liked about Dick Gelati. He would come to a project, he would say hello to laborers and operators, he would know their names, so that they kind of felt like they were part of the team.
Public work, you throw a number on the table and everybody sees it. There's an opening at 2, and everyone knows their place. With private work, you know, if the client doesn't trust you, the client doesn't believe in you, that door shuts so quietly, you never hear it. You know, someone else is on the job the next day. In order to keep a client happy, you have to try to understand what his needs are. And I think that's where Dick has stressed the most, is find the needs of the client, fulfill them in any way that you can, and the next project will come along, and you'll be the first guy in line to be able to prove that you can do the job again. And I think that's what he's done over and over and over again. That's what he's tried to instill in his company. That's what he's really tried to instill in me and all of the employees around us.
He was a great leader by bringing the team together. He loved teamwork. It was all one thing he always said. He always compared a project in the guys on the job. He goes, hey, "We're like a football team. Let's huddle up in the morning, figure out what we're doing, and everybody should know what the other guy's doing, and let's complete our task." The next day, the same thing. It was a play that would be set up first thing in the morning, and it would go throughout the day. And the next day, it was a new play. Dick is very proud of his projects. Yeah, so proud. He'll take a martini glass, put it on his dashboard, and he'll fill it up with water, and he'll drive the road. It has to be water, though. He'll drive the road, and if it doesn't spill, it's a good job. Dick was very instrumental in some of the recession time. It was tough. We went after some big projects with thin margins, and it kept guys working. Kept the lights on. But it was when we got into it, it was like, "What are we doing, Dick?" But you just kind of jump on his coattail and you ride the wave.
Many companies were going broke, and we were bidding projects mostly to just keep people busy and keep our employees working and keep our clients that were still working during that period afloat. He'd already been through recessions before, and he knew that it was going to get over, and he knew that the person who's last standing and biggest capable is going to grow a lot faster than the people who are scared.
He had a pretty thick skin for risk. He was not afraid of risk, where most guys would be a little bit, "Hey, we're not sure how this work is going to go, this task is going to go, let's put a little money on it." He was not afraid of some of those scenarios.
Dick Gelati came up with the idea, which it was shocking to many people. It was outside the box. It was coming from his entrepreneurial spirit and fearlessness, and he decided to acquire North Bay Construction, who the owner was one of his friends. They knew each other. They trusted each other.
Dick and I had a little deal going, even though we were great competitors, that who was going to buy who out. And it was the situation was we actually both kind of wanted the other guy to buy us out. So end result was it looked like I won because Dick ended up buying me out. The deal maker was Dick would try to keep all my employees, as many as he could. That was what enticed me to sell it to him.
With that acquisition, he brought in a lot of good people and a lot of good workers in the field, as well as good estimators and good project managers. And he also basically took over some other major projects that he thought it was going to help both with training of his people, giving people a goal that we know the company's not closing. Not only we're not closing, but we're getting these big projects to run, and getting a good cash flow coming because Caltrans doesn't go broke. Get a good cash flow going, give a good morale to his personnel, and bring in good, strong management and estimating people so that when the economy turns around, he can go as fast as we did. We did it again when we were doing a big project on 101 during the COVID crisis.
But Dick, after buying me out, asked if I'd sit on the board of directors with him, which I thought was a great honor. And Dick has treated me just like a brother, and I hope I've treated him the same way.
Dick has an abundance of integrity, and I think he assumes that in others. If you're going to deal with Dick, you're going to deal with him in the old way, the handshake way.
Future of Gelati is bright. Last year we made a transition to an ESOP company. Our employees are excited about it.
Dick now turned the company over to the employees, which I think is a great thing for everybody.
I think by providing the employees the ability to to form an ESOP is probably one of the bravest things he's ever done, and I think it's going to prove its worth many times over in the coming years. Dick has always believed that the assets are the people. The assets of a company are who you surround yourself with, how you do business in the marketplace, and how you're represented. It really drives to the essence of who Dick is, to give back to those he truly loves, cares about, to do good work. I mean, those are all things that are ingrained in him.
One of Dick's most proud moments or foundations that he's built up is obviously the DG Foundation. It's in honor of his son that passed away in 2013, day after his college graduation from Miami. So that scholarship is a great scholarship. It sponsors kids that go to San Domenico, Marin Catholic, or University of Miami for athletics, academics, or art. And that is definitely probably Dick's most proud accomplishment.
And all I can say, Dick, to you is I wish you the best, and getting this award is well deserved, and it's a great award. And Dick, looking forward to the future. I would like to have you come back down to the house, have a few martinis like you used to do, and we'll see each other all the time. Thanks, Dick.